Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are thinking about a lasting marriage. Yes, that is on our minds. And luckily, I have Melissa back because I had such a great time speaking to her the first time as we dived into blending cultures. Now we are thinking about having a lasting marriage. Oh, what a great topic to really think about today. And so thank you so much, Melissa, for coming on to my show and sharing your time and your perspective with me. So let's just dive right in. When you hear those words, lasting marriage, what does that make you think about?
Something that doesn't happen often now, honestly.
Right?
I mean, my husband and I've been together 31, married 30, and I can't even imagine people that quit after 10 years. I mean, yeah, there are times in your marriage when you quit and you give up, but you don't you don't actually give up. You just like, okay, I'm done right now. And then a little while later you're like, "Oh, yes, I still love the dude. Why did why did we get in an argument?" And stupid stuff, you know?
No, absolutely. Like people don't realize like some of the petty things that we allow to be bigger than what it is. That's what destroys marriages. That's what destroys relationships. And I feel like it's so sad considering the fact that there's nobody that really wants to make it long term. They talk about it. They're like, "Oh, yeah, we're in this for life. If the next person I'm with, we're gonna be in there for life." But you can't even tolerate the way they breathe. You know what I mean? You can't even tolerate the way that they sneeze or eat or scratch themselves or even fart in front of you. Like, how is that ideal for a lasting marriage? So for you, Melissa, what made this your relationship with your husband truly last?
First, I made the decision early on in our marriage not to let anybody get into it. The marriage is between him and I, nobody else. No immediate, no, the family you grew up with or anything like that. Because when you think about it, nobody really knows what's going on in everybody's house. They only know part of the story. They don't know the whole story. They don't know both sides of a story.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, there was resentment in my family because I did that. But I
Mm.
think if I hadn't have done that, we probably wouldn't still be together because you get the outside voices in your head and you're like, well, maybe that person isn't right for me, or maybe he's treating me wrong. When matter of fact, it's probably something that you did that caused the friction, and unresolved issues within yourself. So you learn to communicate better. You learn to, I grew up in a family where we raged and regret. And that's when we just like let it all out. And then oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that. And so I learned to sit on something, even though it was bothering me, and kind of pray about it, and then come about it in a way that it's makes it so we have a conversation, not a heated argument. Because in the heat of the moment, things get thrown out that oh, so and so when we were dating, or this and that, all the past things get brought up, and that wasn't healthy. And I learned early on that I had to change the way that was modeled to me as I was growing up and modeled to him because his parents were married. Both of our parents were married over 50 years before they passed away.
Wow, that's a blessing.
And yeah, and then my husband's number 9 of 10,
Wow.
and I'm the youngest of four girls.
Oh,
So
wow.
so I knew automatically I didn't want any of this getting in because I saw what my two older sisters went through with their marriage and my mom and dad and the siblings kind of getting into the marriage and everything. And I'm like, I can't do that. I want my marriage to last. I don't want it to be like, because most of the time when problems arise in a marriage,
Hmm.
people are like so quick to just, I'm done and walk away and not want to work on it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so sad because it's like you say I do, you say death do us part, you say, oh, it's through sickness and in health, but as soon as you feel disrespected, you're ready to walk out the door and jump on the new person that's giving you what you need, that temporary satisfaction. Like that's not realistic. And long-term degrees of things, you're going to go through hardship. You're going to go through heartache, and things are going to get complicated and even a little sticky sometimes. And I love the fact that you said sometimes you have to sit on it and pray on it. Oh, girl. Yes, we have to learn to sit with our problems and pray on it because we don't know what is to come from a situation. You know what I mean? We don't know if the relationship to build and to become better if you need this argument, if you need this to happen. You don't know. And I love also what you said about People on the outside don't know what's going on the inside. People outside of your relationship don't know what they're going on the inside. They don't know. They have absolutely no idea. They see a glimpse, they see whatever that you want to portray on social media, whatever that you want to portray outside of your home and when you're out and about with your family, your friends, or whoever you're with, but they don't know the nitty-gritty, what is actually goes in and out of your routine of what made your relationship real, what started that love. You know what I mean? They don't know. So they're only going to give you opinions from what they would do for themselves. And sometimes they're not all the best reasons to reason with. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to ask a single, never been married, no kids having person to come and give somebody who's in a marriage who has three, four kids and they're trying to thrive and ask for their really, you're not going to get there, you're not going to get a reasonable advice, you know what I mean? And if you are going to ask for advice, seek counselorship, seek a pastor, seek somebody that has an actual reason to want you to thrive and succeed, or even will sit with you and be like, let me pray with you about it first before I even give you any type of advice. You know what I mean? Those type of people who actually want to bring God into the relationship had such a more valuable like interaction, and they actually stay together a lot longer than the individuals that don't, because at the end of the day all they're doing is going to everybody else for their situation when they have no idea. And like you said, half of the time people are just so quick to give it up. Like I'm sorry, people are quicker to give up relationships than they are to quick to change their underwear. You know what I mean? Like they need to switch their motives. So I also liked how you said no one in your relationship. So does that also mean sexually as well? Because that's a big thing nowadays where now they're having
Yeah.
open relationships. What are your thoughts on that? Does that really help have a lasting relationship by opening your marriage?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think it causes more problems because you're going to get that jealousy. I'm sorry, people are just jealous by nature. I'm sorry. That's just the way it goes. And it wasn't meant to be a throuple or for swingers or switch partners. It wasn't anything that's not supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean two people that are committed to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make that commitment, you forsake all others.
Mm.
And so, yeah, it's okay to look. Because I mean, we all have eyes. If we see a nice looking man or a nice looking woman, people are like, ooh, yeah. But that doesn't mean that we go after those people. It means
Yeah.
we're just human. We appreciate beauty and we move on. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's important. I also think it's important that the old adage that never go to bed angry needs to get thrown to the curb because
Mm-hmm.
some people would never sleep.
Yes, thank you. Like I will go to bed angry because you know why? In the morning I will be a lot better and a lot refreshed. Or they're like, "Oh, don't go to bed if you haven't resolved an argument." No. Why? Why would I drag this conversation out? Why would I drag this fight out? No. I do not do that. If you need space, honey, take your space. Take your space,
Um,
have your fun, do whatever that you need to do to get your clarity. Why? Because at the end of the day, I know you're going to come back to me and realizing with your tail in between your legs that you know what, you messed up somewhere somehow. Or I will get the realization that I messed up and I'll come to you the next day and I'll apologize. But something about getting rest really gives you the clarity that you need to really evolve and realize the situation in a different perspective. And I don't think people really realize that either. And I do agree what you said. It's about that jealousy tactic. Like there is a way to appreciate beauty, like you said, those words. Oh, I love that. Because there's other people in this world, and some of them are pretty and some of them aren't. But the ones that are pretty shouldn't be hated on just because they were born that way. They don't even know half of the time that they are beautiful. You know what I mean? So it's like, how is it their fault that they're walking in the room or they're just saying hello or they're being kind or they're being civil to another individual and you getting upset? So I think that jealousy tactic is so immature, and there really needs to be some insecurity, like a security check within themselves, because their insecurity is really high. And it's like, how can you really do that? Because I'm with you. Like me and my husband, like if I see a beautiful girl walk by, we both check out the girl. Like, wow, did you see her? She was gorgeous. He was like, yeah, yeah, she really was. Or if there was a guy that was handsome, he would be like, wow, that man was really good looking. And I was like, I know he really was. But it was just appreciating the beauty, appreciate the artwork that's out there, but doesn't mean that I want to trample on it. Doesn't mean I want it for myself and we're gonna drag it to the bed like some caveman. Like, no,
yeah.
there is a way to do it. So, what are your hopes for your marriage?
What are my hopes for my marriage? Oh my gosh, 30 more, 30, 40, 50 more years I would love. I mean, we're in our 50s now, so I don't know if that's like wish it was 50 because that would be great. We'd both be in 100. But, just living and exploring it and even though we're at the point where we're empty nesters, because our girls are all grown, they're young adults. One's married, one's
Mm.
engaged, and then the baby, she's still, I call her the baby, but she's not a baby because she's in her 20s. They're still here, but when you're an empty nester, you've got to find ways to re-engage with your spouse and
Yeah.
reintroducing yourself to each other too,
Yeah.
because we go through changes all the time, especially when you go from, changes as being a newly married couple, then up new parents, and then you go through the of raising the children, and sometimes marriages get lost in that.
Hmm.
So for people that are in the thick of things, just wait, your time's coming. It's like it's coming. It's going to be, you're going to have more fun with your spouse once the kids are out. And I hate to say that because kids are fun, but when you're in the thick of things, sometimes those wedding, you know, marriage things don't actually get met because the kids seem to always come first. So if
Yeah.
I looking back now, I wish I had done that a little bit better. I wish I had put my husband first sometimes and like got the sitter more often for the girls and things like that. But yeah, more time to reintroduce ourselves to each other and having more time together.
Oh yeah, and I feel like that's like the perfect way to spice it up. You know what I mean? You can be inventive. You can explore different avenues of the relationship that you never could when you were in the newlywed stage or when you just had children because these are all stages, you know what I mean? When you do life together with somebody, then you're really doing life together with somebody. And one thing that I do with my husband is I allow him to have friends, I allow him to go out, I allow him to have a hobby, I allow him to do these things because if I'm doing life with you, then I don't need to be attached to you every second and every minute of the day. So it's like for you, what does that mean to do life with somebody? Do you really need that attachment?
No, honestly, no. I mean, if you look at us, you would think we were the most unlikely couple because, I have my own interests, he has his own interests, but, it's okay because it's important that you cultivate who you are as an individual as well, because if you're happy in your life and what you're doing, then it's going to go forward into your relationship. If you're not happy and you're like, I don't have friends, I don't get to do this, I don't get to do that, I'm stuck at home all the time, then of course it's going to cause trickle down and problems into your relationship and your marriage. So the having that little bit of freedom, not to go out and like whoop it up or have a party all the time and everything like that, but just to go out and just have someone that's you're yourself, but then when you come home, you're not part of a couple, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Your identity is not just being so and so's wife or so and so's husband. It's first you, and then after that, everything else, because that's going to make you happy and fulfill you, which in turn is going to work with your marriage and your relationship.
Oh, absolutely. I think you said it perfectly because I think we get lost in our identity being, oh, I'm just so and so's wife. I'm just so and so's wife. That's all I am. And I'm just a housewife and that's all that I am. But it's like you are so much more. You used to draw, you used to write, you used to sing, you used to dance, you know what I mean? Do the things that still spark that joy in your heart. And I don't think people have that because there's so much insecurity nowadays. And I seen a reel just today this morning where this girl got upset because she was eating at a restaurant with her boyfriend and some girl asked what he was eating and she was just and then that totally threw her off like I'm sorry but a person can't just ask a random question about what he's eating without you feeling insecure. Like that's really where we're going to now. Where is the petty level? Like I feel like the pettiness has gotten so high that we are just living on the surface level of life, not realizing that this lasting marriage is never going to be the next generation's ideal goal if they don't realize that we have to talk to the opposite sex. We
Yeah.
have to have interactions, but doesn't mean it's about wanting to bang each other, wanting to have sex after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There
Uh-huh.
has to be really more. And it's like going deep and when you're in a relationship for the long run of things, you realize the things are differently. You know what I mean? The motives are different, the agendas are different, the outlooks of lives are different because it's that family unit. And I know you said that your daughters are, they're out of the house, they have their own engagement and married. So it's like, what is the advice that you give your daughters when, things are a little rough on their ends?
Basically, that they honestly, I grew up in a family we didn't talk about problems at all. Even though we saw them, we kind of buried our feelings. And I've told them if you're having a problem with us as, mom and dad, or with anybody else, any relationship that you have, and it can go across all boards, across all relationships, is to sit down and have a intelligent conversation with people
Mm, yeah.
instead of yelling, screaming, raging. Like I said, I was brought up with rage and regret, where people would say things that you sit down and you talk. Now, not to say that feelings won't get hurt, because feelings will get hurt. I'm just going to put that out there right now, because there's been times when me and my girls are sitting down having these conversations, and tears are coming out all of our eyes because it's just cleansing. But when you get
Yeah.
it out in the open, let it go. Let it go. Once you've talked and discussed about it, let it go. Because when future arguments arise, don't bring that crap back up. Because a lot of people will bring up every little thing they ever did, the other person did wrong, and when they're having an argument, instead of just letting things go.
Exactly. And then it becomes toxic. And then people don't realize that like now they are in a toxic relationship. Now you are the toxic individual because you can't let something go. And if you really love somebody, why even be with that person if you can never have that trust again? That's not real love then. You know
Uh,
what I mean? You only loved a part of them, of an area of their lives that you can actually hold on to. And if you can't for like in the far future truly let that go and never bring that situation up again, then you should not be with that person. You should not continue to make excuses why you need to be with each other. You should just let them go. Oh my goodness, I believe it. Like I know somebody that she found her boyfriend cheating, and ever since then she doesn't trust him going anywhere with anyone, and she has to be right there with him, and it's like and they still got married and had their kids and everything, so like that's his choice for going down that route. But at the same time, like how do you have peace knowing that you can't really be a man, you know what I mean, that you can't
uh-huh.
really do things without her knowing or having your location on because she's always threatening that you're cheating. You know what I mean? Like that's all like unnecessary and it's so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy. You can find somebody that loves you unconditionally, will let things go, will move on and move forward and truly love you for all that you are, not just the moment of you are, not just the appearance of you are, but all of you because that's what marriage is loving all of you, the changes of you, the evolution of who you are. Because I'm pretty sure when you guys got together 40, 50 years ago, you didn't look the way that you did. He didn't look the way that he did. And with time, you guys learned to love the part of you that changed and that evolved. So it's like, how do you learn to love with the evolution of it, of your time?
It's a learning process. And anybody that says their marriage is perfect, they're lying to you, because no marriage is perfect. It's a learning process. You learn that the person that you got married to when you were in your 20s may not be the same person that you're married to when you're in your 50s. I mean, we've evolved, we've had so much loss in our life. Like within the first year of our marriage, I lost my sister, who was my best friend.
Oof, I'm
We've lost
sorry.
both sets of parents. I've only got one sister left. He's lost a couple of brothers and sisters as well. So you just learn to be there. And, men are not very emotional people. Like, at least my husband's not. If we catch him crying, he says, I'm not crying, I'm not crying. But
Yeah.
they're not very emotional people, but you can always tell when they need that downtime if you know your partner well. And you're like, okay, well, maybe you should take tomorrow off from work, because you're really grieving your mom. You don't want to admit it, or you're grieving your brother. Let's just take a day off where you don't do anything at all and not have to focus on anything. And it works, being there for your partner emotionally, because there's some days where you'll lean on them and some days they'll lean on you. And I think it's important that you have to lean on each other and not
Mhm.
lean on the outside sources. So it's an evolving thing. I can say my marriage looks one way, but nobody's marriage is the same. and people the ideal of Hollywood marriages and the movies, not the Hollywood marriages in real life. Because oh my gosh, how many times have they gone through? Like Jennifer Lopez won. How many times has she been married now?
I
Seven.
know, right?
And
Elizabeth Taylor, right? Like she married
yeah,
like eight, nine guys. Yeah.
yep,
It's truly something that we really have to remember is leaning on each other. Like you if you don't have anybody left, who are you gonna have? Each other. You know what I mean?
yep,
That's one thing that my mom taught me at a very young age because she was like, you and your sisters, that's all you got. If me and your dad die tomorrow, who will you really have? Each other. And I took that advice and I put that in now into my marriage. And I'm like, because now we have sons. So it's like if God forbid anything happened to me and my husband, who will my sons have? No one. They will have each other. And if God forbid if the rest of my family were to die, who will I have left? My husband. So I have to lean on my husband. I have to rely on my husband, and he has to rely on me too. And I always tell him because my husband is Mexican. So yeah, I bet you already know how that
yep.
is. The
No, I know
that
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 is.
that pride, that ego, that was the biggest thing for him. Like, I'm a man. I have to do this for my family. And it's
Yeah.
like I had to break him down and be like, babe, it's not just you. The weight of this family is not on your shoulders. The weight of this family is on God and then on us. You know what I mean? So as long as we put God first and then us, then everything else will fall into place. But we are a team. It's not about competing with one another. It's about uniting with one another. If you're down in one day, I got you. If I'm down another day, you got me. You know what I mean? Like my husband just broke his hand at work because of an accident. So I've just been doing more heavy lifting. You know what I mean? I threw out the trash. I took the loads to the trash can. I picked up the grocery boxes and I brought them inside. And he's like, no, no, I got this. I got this. I was like, no, stop
Mhm.
making this more difficult than what it has to be. This is not about pride. This is about helping each other. Your hand is down. You can't do what you need to do. So let's move forward in a way so that we can do this together. Because at the end of the day, I want my sons to find a woman that's gonna be there for them. You know what I mean? Not some woman that's asking for him as a bank account, that how much they can pull out of him. Like, no, I want that family dynamic to be really there so that if I were to die and my sons have their spouses, I know that they're going to be well-rounded and they got each other and they're going to see each other as a team. And I think more people need to see that like this is a team. This is our home plate. This is our home dynamic. Nothing comes in and nothing comes out of this unless we allow it to be. And I wish more people can have that understanding because then they realize, huh, life is actually not too shabby.
And,
So,
and
go ahead.
plus two, quit looking at what the neighbor might have, what kind of marriage they have, because they always say the grass is always greener. Well, once you get over there, you realize that grass isn't greener. You realize there's holes and things like that. So quit comparing yourself because, like I said, no marriage is the same. Everybody, there's different people in the marriages as well.
Exactly. And they may not even be real grass. It may be fake grass. And why
Uh-huh.
would you want that fake grass? You know what I mean? You want something real. So, yes, you really have to take that into consideration. Goodness gracious, Melissa. I love having you on my show. I love talking to you. I love your perspective. But time is catching up to us. So, what can be some lasting words that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
Everyone is unique. And so you bring into your own marriage what you have, your personality and your husband's personality, and don't let anybody else tell you what your marriage is supposed to be like. You figure it out for yourself. You make rules, and rules are made to be bent a little bit. And as you grow into more and more in your marriage, your rules can all of a sudden, what may have worked when you were 20 may not work when you're 30, may not work when you're 40. You have to constantly, it's a constantly evolving. It's once you get happy or comfortable in a place, that's when people start taking each other for granted. So, number one, don't take your spouse for granted for sure. That's what I'm going to put out there right now because that's very important because we end up taking each other for granted a lot. And once we start putting someone else's needs above our own, then we tend to be a little bit happier in the relationship because we're like they see me doing this, so they're going to reciprocate back to me. So,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's a very valid point. Don't take your spouse for granted. Don't get stuck on one season of your relationship. You're right. Like just because you were one way in the beginning of the relationship doesn't mean that it's gonna last like that the whole entire 50 years. Like that's so unrealistic. That's heavy. That's a burden. Sometimes, yes, you can keep some small aspects of those relationship, those rules intact, but then you also have to be lenient. You have to know when to bend and going to fluctuate because you can't say, oh, always keep the door closed in the house, and then there's a big storm that knocks the door over. What are you gonna do? Now get a new door and hurry up and close it? No. What happens if you can't get that door real quick? You're gonna just back, you're gonna go with the flow with it. You're gonna figure it out, right? I
Yep.
think that's the biggest thing is like being able to figure it out as you go is so important. And like you said, knowing each other's personalities, knowing that they're going to evolve is so valuable because you are unique and you're growing and you're learning and you're adapting from each other. And it's like you can't expect you know what I mean? You can't expect something to work in one season to another. Like I said earlier, like we really have to take that into consideration. Like it's your marriage. How do you really
Yep.
want it? And I think when you lay that down and write that list down on how you really want your marriage to be, then you got to really ask yourself, what is that going to take for me to do that?
Yep.
And I think it's knowing your love language. You know what I mean? Knowing his love language, knowing how you perceive love and how you take in love. Because if you only take in love one way, well, then maybe you can start exploring the other avenues of love and start testing it. You know what I mean? Seeing what really feels right or try exploring it because it's you guys at the end. And if you really wanted to have a lasting marriage, you need to put in the work. Oh my goodness, such a great conversation. Thank you so much, Melissa. And ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, because I always love talking to Melissa, I'm gonna have to make another excuse to bring her back on, right? Go check her out. I have access to her websites in the description. Also, access to the previous episode that we talked about when blending cultures. Such a great conversation as well. Just continue on thinking, ladies and gentlemen, and check out Melissa. Go hit her up if you like this conversation and you want to know more, or if you need a little nudge in your relationship and want some more advice. Go hit her up with her lasting relationship. You're going to want to ask her for that advice, right? So, with that being said, bye.